We're counting down the 7 leg exercises most likely to damage your joints after 60. From movements that put 7 times your body weight on aging knees, to routines that stealthily increase your risk of falls, these entries earned their rank through real injury data, not outdated gym advice, but which supposedly safe move actually tops the danger list. Let's begin with number 7. Traditional deep squats, where the hips drop below parallel, are still a staple in gym programs, often pushed by trainers who cut their teeth on youth fitness routines. For adults over 60, though, this movement sits at the top of the danger list. At the lowest point of a deep squat, the knee joint faces compressive forces estimated at 7 to 8 times body weight in younger adults. By age 60, knee cartilage is already thinned by about half. It doesn't grow back. That means each rep can accelerate the wear, especially in those with even mild arthritis or a history of knee pain. Meniscus tears, which require months of recovery, are twice as common in those performing deep squats compared to partial squats. Balance is another hidden threat. Around 30% of older adults struggle to rise from a deep squat without assistance, and the risk of losing balance on the way up is high. A single slip can mean a fall, with consequences that go far beyond sore muscles. The spine isn't safe either. As the hips dip low, the lower back tends to round, a movement known as the butt wink. This subtle shift compresses the discs in the lumbar spine, a serious concern given the prevalence of osteoporosis and disc thinning after 60. Despite these risks, many trainers still prescribe deep squats, arguing that more depth equals more strength. But the evidence doesn't support this for seniors. Multiple studies confirm that partial squats, stopping at about 90 degrees, provide the same strength benefits with half the joint stress. There's no added reward for pushing past parallel, only greater risk. For aging knees and spines, deep squats are a relic of youth-focused workouts, not a tool for lifelong strength. The leg press machine holds a reputation as a safer alternative to squats, especially in gyms where seniors line up to stack plate after plate. But that sense of safety is misleading, especially when heavy weights become the goal. In practice, it is not uncommon to see older adults loading 400 or even 500 pounds onto the sled, chasing numbers that impress others but do not translate to real-world strength. The problem starts with the machine design. Reclined in the seat, the spine is forced into an unnatural angle. As the knees bend and the platform drops, the lower back often lifts off the pad. This subtle rounding multiplies the shear forces on aging spinal discs, which are already thinner and more fragile after 60. While younger athletes might tolerate these stresses, seniors risk disc bulges or even herniation, injuries that can steal independence in an instant. The knees are not spared either. Heavy loads compress the joint at fixed angles, concentrating force through thinning cartilage. When the platform locks out at the top, it is easy to hyperextend the knees, stretching ligaments and risking long-term damage. Studies estimate that knee moments can reach 150 Newton meters on the leg press, far exceeding what is required for daily activities. The fixed path of the machine also means stabilizer muscles, the ones that keep you upright and steady in real life, are left out of the equation. That creates a dangerous disconnect. Strong legs on paper, but weak balance in the hallway or on the stairs. There is another hidden risk: blood pressure. Pushing heavy weights in a reclined position can spike systolic blood pressure by 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury, a jump that is especially risky for anyone with hypertension or heart disease. For many, the drive to add more plates is fueled by ego, not function. But the cost is real: unmeasured spinal strain, overstressed knees, and cardiovascular risk that no trophy lift can justify. The leg press, when overloaded, trades short-term pride for long-term pain. Forward lunges show up in nearly every senior fitness class, often stamped with a doctor's approval as a way to build functional strength. Yet for adults over 60, this exercise carries a hidden cost. The act of stepping forward launches the body's weight onto one leg, creating a burst of forward momentum that is difficult to control as balance declines with age. In clinical studies, adults over 60 were found to lose stability during forward lunges 65% of the time, making it the leading culprit for gym falls among seniors. The risk doesn't stop at losing balance. As the front knee moves past the toes, the joint absorbs a shear force exceeding 200 Newton meters, far above what's needed for daily movement. This force strains the patellofemoral joint and multiplies the chance of cartilage wear. The trailing knee is no safer. Dropping it toward the floor can lead to direct impact trauma on the kneecap, especially if control is lost. Even a minor wobble can send weight shifting sideways, destabilizing the hip and ankle. Many seniors eager to match group fitness routines or follow broad medical advice add dumbbells to the mix. The result is a steeper fall if balance gives way. Wrist fractures become 2.5 times more likely in these scenarios, and shoulder injuries or even head trauma can follow. Doctors often recommend lunges as a blanket solution, but the data tells a different story. The 2022 fall mechanics analysis found that most injuries in gym settings traced back to single leg instability, lunges topping the chart. Hip flexor strains also rise, affecting 12% of older adults who attempt forward lunges regularly. The problem isn't just the exercise, but the outdated advice that ignores how balance, coordination, and joint resilience change after 60. For seniors, the forward lunge is less a path to strength and more a fast track to preventable injury. Leg extension machines have long been a fixture in gyms, promising to isolate and strengthen the quadriceps. For adults over 60, this classic move carries a hidden risk that most never see coming. Unlike squats or lunges, leg extensions force the knee to straighten against resistance with the foot off the ground, a setup known as open chain loading. In this position, the quadriceps contract powerfully while the hamstrings stay silent. Without that natural balance, the anterior cruciate ligament, the ACL, bears the brunt of the force. Recent studies in adults over 60 show that leg extensions can load the ACL up to 80% of its maximum capacity in a single rep. That is a staggering demand for a ligament that has already lost up to 30% of its elasticity by this age. Unlike muscle, ligament tissue does not regenerate. Once overstretched or torn, recovery is slow and rarely complete. Physical therapists have all but abandoned this exercise for knee rehab, citing the risk of non-functional loading and potential for full-thickness tears. The mechanics of the machine amplify the danger. The weighted pad sits low on the shin, creating a lever arm up to twice the length of the thigh. This magnifies the force at the knee, especially at the top of the movement, where the joint is most vulnerable to hyperextension. Research finds that 40% of older adults using leg extensions report knee pain within 3 months, a warning sign, not a badge of progress. Yet the old no pain, no gain mantra still lingers in many gym cultures, pushing seniors to work through discomfort that signals real damage, not growth. Real-world strength comes from movements where the foot stays planted and the muscles work together, like standing, walking, or climbing stairs. Leg extensions train a motion the body never uses outside the gym, building strength that does not transfer to daily life. For aging knees and ligaments, the cost of this isolation is simply too high. Running is often championed as a way to keep legs strong beyond 60, but the science tells a different story. Each stride while running or jogging lands with a force equal to 2.5 to 3 times body weight. Multiply that by 160 to 180 steps every minute, and over the course of an hour, the knees, hips, and ankles absorb as many as 20,000 impacts. For joints already worn by decades of use, this repetitive pounding accelerates cartilage breakdown and pushes osteoarthritis risk even higher. In fact, studies show that adults over 60 who run regularly face double the rate of osteoarthritis progression compared to those who walk or use low-impact exercise. The danger isn't limited to the knees. Meniscus tears are 3 times more likely in older runners, and stress fractures become a real threat as bone density declines with age.
Heel striking, a common habit among senior runners, adds another half a body weight of impact to every step, something cushioned shoes can't truly offset. Even the body's hormonal response works against the goal of building strength. Running for long periods spikes cortisol by 15%, encouraging muscle breakdown rather than growth. The result, legs that feel tired but not necessarily stronger, and a body more prone to injury. Many seniors cling to running out of habit or for the sense of accomplishment it brings, ignoring warning signs like joint pain or swelling. But pain is the body's alarm, not a badge of honor. Ignoring it leads to permanent damage, not progress. The numbers are clear. Endurance from running does not translate to the kind of functional leg strength needed to get out of a chair, climb stairs, or prevent falls. Real-world strength after 60 comes from movements that build stability, control, and resilience, not from pounding the pavement. For anyone focused on staying independent, it's time to trade in the miles for exercises that protect the joints and build muscle where it counts.
Standing up from a chair is something most people do dozens of times a day, getting out of bed, rising from the dinner table, or leaving the car. But after age 60, this simple movement becomes a silent test of strength and independence. Researchers now use the sit-to-stand test as a predictor of longevity. Older adults who struggle to rise from a chair without using their hands face more than double the risk of losing independence or even dying within 5 years. Leg strength, it turns out, is the single best predictor of whether someone can keep living at home or will need assisted care. Partial squats to a chair, sometimes called sit-to-stand, are the gold standard for building this kind of real-world strength safely. Unlike deep squats, this exercise stops at a 90-degree knee bend, keeping joint compression in the safe range of 3 to 4 times body weight. That's less than half the force seen in deep squats, yet studies from 2023 show that partial squats can boost leg strength by up to 30% in just a few months. The movement is functional, closed chain, and practical. Every rep mimics a daily activity. No gym, no equipment, no complicated setup. Form matters more than anything. Stand in front of a sturdy chair, feet hip-width apart and toes slightly out. Arms reach forward for balance. Lower slowly, taking 3 to 5 seconds to control the descent. The knees track over the toes, shins stay vertical, and the hips move back as if sitting down. Touch the chair lightly or hover just above it, keeping tension in the legs. A brief pause, then drive through the heels to stand tall, squeezing the glutes at the top. There's no need to lock the knees. This slow, controlled lowering, called the eccentric phase, does more to build muscle and protect joints than rushing through reps. Research confirms that emphasizing this part of the movement increases strength gains by 20 to 30% over pushing up quickly. The sit-to-stand isn't just a safer alternative, it's a foundation for independence. Studies show that older adults who can perform 8 to 10 controlled sit-to-stands 3 times a week maintain mobility and reduce their risk of falls. The movement trains the quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and core all at once, reinforcing the muscles needed for every important daily task. For anyone hoping to stay strong, mobile, and self-sufficient after 60, partial squats to a chair are the single most important exercise to master. Reverse step-ups, also called reverse box step-downs, have quietly become the top choice for building single-leg control and hip stability after 60. Unlike traditional step-ups, this movement focuses on the eccentric or lowering phase, the part of the exercise that science shows delivers the fastest strength gains with the lowest risk of injury. In a 2022 trial on eccentric training for older adults, participants improved leg strength 30% faster than with standard routines, while fall rates dropped by almost a third over just 3 months. The mechanics are simple but powerful. Start by standing on a low step, about 4 to 8 inches high, roughly the height of a standard stair. The front foot stays on the platform while the back foot slowly lowers toward the floor. This backward step eliminates forward momentum, forcing the muscles to control the descent every inch of the way. The knee of the standing leg tracks over the toes, the glute muscles fire to keep the hips level, and the core stays engaged for balance. Electromyography studies show the glute medius, the muscle that keeps the pelvis from dropping, activates up to 45% more during reverse step downs than in typical squats or lunges. That extra activation means better hip stability, which is the foundation for safe walking and stair navigation. Unlike forward lunges or running, the impact on the joints is minimal. The knee absorbs less than half a body weight of force during each repetition compared to 2 or 3 times body weight in higher impact moves. The controlled tempo, 3 to 5 seconds lowering down, gives muscles time to adapt and prevents any sudden jarring. For those worried about balance, a hand can rest lightly on a railing or wall for added security. As strength and confidence build, support can be reduced, the step can be lowered, or a weighted vest can be added for more challenge. This exercise also highlights any left-right imbalances that might have gone unnoticed. If one side feels weaker or less stable, it's easy to add a few extra reps to bring things into balance. Over time, this symmetry translates directly to safer walking and climbing stairs, activities where most falls happen. In fact, research shows that the majority of senior falls occur during the single leg phase of movement, not when both feet are planted. Reverse step-ups aren't just about strength. They're about teaching the body to control movement in the real world, where uneven ground and changing surfaces are the norm. The payoff is clear. Older adults who practice this exercise twice a week see falls drop by 30% and leg strength improve more rapidly than with traditional routines. For anyone looking to future-proof their mobility and stay steady on their feet, reverse step downs are the single most effective move to master. Across all 7 exercises, one pattern stands out. After 60, the real risk isn't weakness, it's outdated routines that ignore how aging changes our bodies. True strength isn't about heavy weights or extreme moves, but safe, functional training that preserves independence. For seniors, fitness isn't just exercise, it's the key to staying active, capable, and in control of your life. Stay strong and choose wisely.